And we should be up now. Hello, hello. I think everyone's hearing us. Are you guys hearing us here?
This is the camera. This is where we look.
This is the camera. We're already on. So.
And we don't have a screen that we see each other like.
We will see each other shortly in here, but we're not actually playing it. But I'll play it now so we can see each other.
And here will be the questions.
Yep. So here we are, guys. Welcome live to the gathering, and me and Ignacy are here, and we're going to start off today. We're going to take question and answers. So this is more for you guys. I wanted to give you guys a chance at home who are watching to be able to ask questions to the designers. I figured that was a good way to do this. But for now, we don't have any questions coming, and I can see already that people are saying they could hear us. So let's
that's good.
Let's talk about your new game. I got to play this last night. And Detective. So tell me some more about it. Now that I got to play it, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, we announced the game last year at the Gamma Trade Show, and now a year later we are super ready to finally talk about the game much more with more details. This is a solving cases. You are investigators. You are a team of the investigators. It's a 2 to 5 players game. It's a fully cooperative. As you played, you saw even the players share the token pool, players share the time pool, like everything is together. Like we are playing a team. In the box you will find 5 cases to solve. Mm-hmm. You solved the first one yesterday. All these cases are building one big meta plot, one big case. So some facts, some characters, some clues from even the first case will matter in the final case, which is kind of cool. But you have to make a very good notes, because if you are playing the final case like 4 or 5 weeks later, you need to remember what happened in the first case. So it's challenging, but on the other hand, it is super fulfilling when you are, this 5 weeks later and something pops up that makes sense back to the beginning of the whole campaign. It's super fulfilling moment. Yesterday when you were playing, you almost touched the meta plot at the very final. I don't know if you remember when you clicked something and you found something, but you had no resources to investigate because it was end of the case.
Yes.
But you almost touched the meta plot. But these are these moments when you feel that on one hand we are solving the case, we are solving the objective for this case, but there are all the other things that build the whole meta plot, and when players touch them, when they find them, these are super cool moments. And oh guys, we just found something.
Exactly. I mean, for those of you who have heard about Detective but haven't played it,
be careful with the spoilers. Be careful.
Be careful with the spoilers. It plays in a similar feel to like a consulting detective kind of game, but it was very different and modernized, and you're not just reading paragraphs from a book anymore. You like one person has their smartphone and they're looking up facts on the internet. Well, one person has a computer with a police database where you're getting information, and then one person is going through the deck of cards, which is like the paragraphs, and then one person is doing something else, and one person is making a little like bubble chart connecting all the facts, and
mind them up.
You really feel like you're a detective. So it doesn't feel like you're just reading paragraphs from a book. It really feels like you're immersed in this experience.
What some people, of course, are afraid of modern technology, about the apps, websites, etc. But on the other hand, when you play this game, you really feel like a team of the people, because it's exactly what you said. Like one guy is on the computer, hey guys, I just found something. The other guy is checking something on Wikipedia. The other guy is browsing to the deck of cards. Like everybody has their role at the table and putting to the the pool of the facts and things that you found, and you're building this mind map, and hey guys, I just found this guy was here, yes, and you read the accounts, and this is like a full cooperative experience. I mean, in my opinion, and when I play the game and I bring my playtesters, like everybody has their role at the table, very unique, and can add value to solving the case.
Exactly. So there's already a few questions. Let's just get to questions right away.
Sure.
I know what you told me is there is there's like a few cases in this box, and they all kind of link together into a big mega case.
Yep.
So Benjamin is asking, is there going to be an expansion for Detective, and how far do you plan to go with cases?
Yeah, so I hope there will be expansions. but of course the market will decide. The market will have to like the base game first if we can think about the expansion. My perspective is that I finished the working on the detective. We played yesterday, and I'm not tired of this game. For me, it's like just beginning. Like we build the system, the whole mechanism, and I wish I could create more cases. I wish I could stay with this project for a longer time. So, on our side, on the developer side, on my side as the designer, I wish I would be able to create new scenarios and new missions because I'm not tired yet. I feel like I'm just starting building this game. So. Hopefully the market will decide, and hopefully market let me work on the new missions. Right now we are finishing designing a special convention mission. So
Nice.
if you are visiting any convention and if you will play at our booth, you will be playing a different mission. So we are not going to spoil you the full experience from the base game. It will be dedicated.
It'll be a demo mission.
Yeah, there will be demo mission. So we are designing right now this thing. The game will be released at the Gen Con, and we will see. I hope we will publish many expansions because I said I love the system and I want to work on that more.
Yeah, it seems like it's been, and other games, like I know I compared this to Consultant Detective, but it also feels like a time story or an unlock, and you modernize it like the way time stories and unlock do, and they run demo ones, but then they come out with new scenarios after new, and I'm assuming that you have kind of a similar strategy.
Yes, we have such plans that we want to release expansions like in time stories, like each scenario, each expansion gives a new story, new case to solve. But as I mentioned, first the market must decide.
Yeah, so we have another question here from Gregorius, and this is the typical question that's always there is, when you design a game, and especially something like this, do you look for the game mechanics first or the theme first, or what did you do for Detective?
Yeah, so I start with a theme of the game and then I build a mechanism, but as we always say during the seminars, each designer has different approach. Like this is not a general rule how you should do this. It is everybody works differently. I always make a joke that Rainer Knizia or Stefan Feld, who are Eurogamers, design completely different games than me. I'm a much more thematic player. For Detective, it was all about. First of all, I was inspired by Sherlock Holmes Studio Detective. I love the game. I strongly recommend you guys to play Sherlock Holmes. It's an amazing game. I played it, and then I thought, okay, what would be if we move the theme to the modern times? So there came an idea for the website, and then there came idea for using Wikipedia, and then we started building and changing the game into something absolutely new and hopefully innovative. But yes, it all starts with the team. Like we are building a game about investigation, and now what tools we can give players. And for example, here in this game you have, and you felt it yesterday, pressure of time. When you have only a couple of days to solve the crime, yes. So this was an interesting rule that we added to the system. We have different locations that you can visit. When you have debate, if you want to go there, but we will lose time because we are moving. Like all these pieces were born because of the theme. First was the theme, and then we were putting up some small rules to describe the theme and make it as a game.
Yeah, the time pressure in this, and knowing that you have a certain time to kind of solve the crime is kind of.
And you were like, we go here or here, yeah, because we don't have much time left.
Exactly. And you're never going to get every piece of it, but you have to piece it together the best you can.
Yeah, this is interesting. The game comes with 35 cards, and you go like through 20, and there's so many cards that you never will see. Like, every group that plays a little bit different because they dig to different cards. Yes, that is also interesting.
Yeah. So someone else is asking, Art is asking, what do you find to be the hardest part about designing a game, and how do you work around that?
So, designing game is a pretty long process. I mean, of course, if you are talking about the big games like Portal Games is doing, and at some point you are really exhausted. You really want to finish the design because you are working on this for 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, 7 months, and still balancing. Still something is not working. Still you are frustrated with some rules not working. So the final stage is pretty difficult. The final stage when you have to put your best to finish the design, to make it super awesome, and you are tired already. The whole team is tired. The play testers are tired, but you have to give your best because you are finishing. So the hard part is that making a good game takes time. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, lots of hours, and at some point it's a struggle. It's really very very difficult process at the end.
Yeah. So I guess the next question I see here is about your convention experience. Like, what is your best and worst convention experiences that you've had at different conventions, or which one can you remember as your favorite or your least
Best
favorite?
experience there is for sure the thing that happened a few years ago and began to grow, the famous cookies affair. Like in one interview or somewhere, I said that I love cookies. And at some convention, somebody came to me and gave me cookies because he heard that, and suddenly it became viral. And at this point, when I'm going to conventions, I'm coming back to home with a suitcase full of cookies. Like, this is ridiculous, and it's super funny, super nice way to communicate with fans. Like, they approach me, they ask me to sign their games as a payment. They give me cookies. Like, this is like a joke, and it's super nice moment to interact with the fans. So this is the good part of the conventions. The bad part of the convention is, for me, the traveling. I'm afraid of flying. I'm afraid of planes. So flying from Europe to America and sitting for 9 hours in a plane, being terrified, it is not something super awesome. So travels is a pain for me. But then being there and meeting with the fans and getting all these cookies is like a good reward.
Well, there's cookies up in the Sheridan Lounge upstairs, so we might get some. When I'm done with everyone's interviews today, we'll go up and get some cookies for sure. Actually, here's a different question from Muglos here, asking about Nourishing Bags and what are your plans for that in the future?
That's interesting, great timing, because in May, which is in like 2 weeks, something, we will finally have all armies for Nourishing Bags in America. There was, as you know, there were more armies published in Polish than in English. The American market was catching up with the armies, and finally we did one big huge reprint of everything, and there will be 12 armies in the offer in the catalog this May. So all Nourishing Bags fans will be able to catch up with all these missing armies and buy them. So this is a huge news for American market. In May we also are releasing, I don't know if you heard about this, Nourishing Bags puzzles. These are these deck of cards with the puzzle to solve for all fans of Nourishing Bags. So it will be also in May released in America, and basically all Nourishing Bags fans should await the Monolith Arena, our SN release game created by Michael Orach, based on the basic system of Nourishing Bags, but with some tweaks and changes. So it is not a new army for Nourishima, but it's a brand new game on the same engine. So
yes,
and the base game comes with 4 armies, so you have like 4 new armies in the system you already basically know. Yes, Monolith Arena is a fantastic game, but uses similar mechanism to Nourishing Bags. So I hope Nourishing Bags fans will be very very happy in upcoming months, because reprint of all armies and Nourishing Bags puzzles and Monolith Arena in the Q3.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, I love Nourishing Bags, and the fact that you're going to have little puzzle scenarios and you're going to have a whole new game in fantasy world, and there's a lot. I know I saw a question there earlier about detective. Like, if this goes well, would you, the way Time Stories does completely different things, would you ever do like a detective from the 50s or a detective?
Exactly. I don't want to spoil too much because it should be our big announcement, but basically, like a super small spoiler, we will move the detective to famous, super cult settings like Miami Vice, like Beverly Hills Cop, like, you know, that's themes, that settings that are super thematic. So yes, we hope for that. Let us release the game, let us have a positive reviews, let us have a positive feedback, and then we will give you a lot of amazing content, because we have the whole files in our office with all these notes for ideas for the expansions. But first, the market has to let us do this.
No, that sounds great. I mean, Miami Vice specifically. I mean, we have Miami Dice, Miami Vice.
But this is like a super famous TV show, yes, and putting action of detective in this like theme, yes, this setting, and, taking all these best pieces from this TV show and making a case on that. This is cool stuff, right?
Yes, exactly. So I guess the last question I saw here is Alien Artifacts. What kind of plans? You just did an expansion, and what kind of future plans do you have?
Yeah, so
for it?
we want to release 2 expansions a year. The first one, Alien Artifact Discovery, was released last month. The second expansion will be released in quarter 3, and will continue. We have a plan for 4 expansions that are already planned and more or less prepared. And then after these 2 years, we will evaluate what we do with the game. If we do one big box edition, or if we will do something like that, we will see. But for now, I can confirm that there are 4 expansions planned, 2 per year.
Perfect. That's going to be great. And I see one last question before I bring Friedemann in.
Jonathan Howe, I know the guy. He watches our Informant video. Everybody should watch our vlog. Portal Games Informant.
That's what
right?
Jonathan. I was going to get to his question. Last question, and I can see Friedemann over there. So if you guys have questions for Friedemann, he's going to be on in about half a minute here. But the question is, pre-order packaging date. When is Detective coming out?
I'm coming back to Poland in 1 week, and we need about 1 week more to prepare. And beginning of May, we are starting pre-orders for Detective. There will be, as always, at Portal Games website, a super fancy offer. You recognize for the first mansion we did the whole with all of gadgets for the 51st State Masters. So once again, lots of additional goodies for Detective. We are also preparing the whole pack, so not only board game, but there are lots of things that we will announce in 2 weeks. So you can visit our website in 2 weeks and learn about the pre-order for Detective. I believe that fans will be super happy with the goodies we have for this edition.
I mean, I played the game and I love it. It was my number 1. What did you say to me before I played it? It was my number 1 on my top 10 games I'm most excited about.
The hype. No, it's just a hopefully good game.
It is a very good game, and having played the case number 1, I love it.
Thank you, sir.
Well, it's a pleasure always having you and seeing you. And
thank you for the question. Thank you for watching.
Yes, and now I can see Friedemann. So we're going to bring in Friedemann Friese here. We're going to let Ignacy go.
Master is coming.
We're going to bring Friedemann in, and if you guys have questions for Friedemann, start putting them out now. So we'll get to questions to him in just a few minutes. And it's a pleasure as always.
Thank you. Thank you.
So here comes Friedemann joining us here for the live cast. How are you this morning?
That's fine.
So you've had kind of a good year. The Fast Forward series has been pretty successful.
Yeah, it is.
And with it, obviously, you did this whole thing where it's sort of legacy style in a way, where you're playing through part and then you're playing more and more of the deck in the Fast Forward series, but you get everything. Do you have plans for more? Have you started working on more of them besides the ones that have been out?
Yeah, there will be. One more will come up.
Nice, very nice.
Just like we started with 3, just a series, and now we're gonna go for one more this time. Of course, it is successful when we do it again, and it's just these ideas, these fable concepts that you don't have legacy, like destroying stuff, that your fable stuff, you can use it again. But the most important part about the Fast Forward series is these, without the rulebook, just start in, don't know what is the game about, you just put a game on with it. You sit there. Yeah, what's the game about? It's cooperative or not? Is it competitive? It is. What's about? No, you will see. Oh, take a card. Okay, take a card. What does this mean? And so on. This is just the core of this idea.
Yeah, so we already have audience questions for you, so let's get to some of them. Staying with Fast Forward, Endgame here is asking, what is the inspiration behind the Fast Forward series?
Fast Forward was, I played him one evening, I met with friends and we want to play Dead Man's Draw. I was just like tired and just put a deck of cards in the center and said, okay, we start. Wait, and then I turn over a card and I explain it to you. Oh, the red one is doing this one, do you want to take another one or you want to take it? Because if you do that, blah, blah, blah. So if I came back, it was just like, oh, this was a good idea to start in the game, just to start in the game without explanation. So maybe I could make as a game as it is, that it has to be like that. So the inspiration was there from having a game evening without the energy of explanation, and therefore I started.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool when you think about it and you say, well, I'm going to make a game where the rules come up as you go. You don't have to read a rule book. It's a very interesting idea for a game.
Yeah.
Of course, I see Benjamin here has asked the standard question, explain why you like green so much.
It is. Can you explain why your favorite food tastes as your favorite food? Can you explain? It is. I think it's impossible. It's just like it is just green. It's my favorite color. It's just like I don't know. It is like it is.
And you just incorporate it into everything. Your boxes, your hair, your color, your shirts.
Yeah, I just started over. It's just I started dyeing my hair green, and then then with his face, where everybody was mad about playing with his color, and there were fights with other players who wants to have green and who grabbed this pawn first would have it and something like that. So yeah, and then I started my company, and the first games were not green in the first year. Yeah. But after that, I decided, okay, maybe it's good to have a color brand for the company, and then everything came with it, with my name, and with the it grew.
Yeah, it grew into what it is. We have a question here from Adar asking, is there a theme for a game that you always wanted to work on but you haven't used yet?
A theme?
Yeah, like the theme that you put onto a game.
Not exactly by now in the mind. There are always ideas I work on. I had themes in my mind. Sometimes it took some time to think about it, and then somebody else already took the theme. If it's a theme that should be unique, so I'm not. By now, I'm not I don't have anything in my list.
Well, here's another question about your whole marketing for your company. Jeremy's asking, have you ever abandoned a game because you couldn't think of a good title for it that started with the letter F?
No. It was crazy. No. It's just like with this year's publishing, the games we want to publish this year, we have some problems with the German names, but we will solve it. We will not abandon them.
So, Ivo is asking something here, which is kind of interesting. Do you have rules for a campaign winner of the Fast Forward series? Because obviously in Fast Forward, each game is its game, but you don't have something for the whole meta game of keeping track of all the games.
A lot of people ask for what happens. I won a game, and I said, yeah, you won a game. It's just like, of course you can do this campaign, but it was just like, in Fable Fruit, it works because this game is a bit longer, and if you won, you have won. I think in the Fast Forward series, the games are so short that the people want to have, but I've seen people just recording wins, or you can just record wins, and depending on, I think it is possible to just, as we tested, we had some tokens on the table, and you throw a token to the winner, and after that we see, I've 5 wins. Yeah, it's just, I want them, there was discussions to put it in or not, and we decided not.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about, because you could just play it as a game, or you could just keep track on a piece of paper and say who's won the most. But the feel of it is just to play through. You don't really need to count that so much.
The fun part about the Fast Forward series is a lot of people just try it, and then they really got into it and cannot stop until it ends, and after the end they say, and now? So it feels like you should play it again, but on the other hand you normally say, okay, I've played it 15 times, no, and I want to have a new one. It is kind of strange, because I wanted to make the Fable system that you can reuse the game, but the people normally say, okay, I'm done with that, no, give me another one. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly, which is why people are going to ask for more and more of these. You might be doing Fast Forward series for a long time.
We'll see.
So here's a question from William here. Is there a designer that you haven't worked with or would like to work with or collaborate with?
Oh. I'm not really looking for others to work together with. If it happens, it happens. I had some. I worked with Marcel, Enrique Sosola-Merkle, I worked with Andrea, I worked with, So, but I'm here at the meeting gathering now and other meetings. I meet the other people. If someday it show up that we're looking in the same direction, have an idea that it will happen, but I'm not really looking forward because in my work I'm very special that I really want to realize things on my own, and I'm not very communicative in that time, so sometimes I just do not answer mails for a week when I'm in a project, so it might be not the best idea to work together with others.
Let me see what other questions we have here. Okay, here's another interesting one from Adar here is, what's the shortest time you have ever gone from an idea to a fully formed game?
A week, I think. I don't know. It was just like I cannot remember which one. I think it was like I think Foppen was one of the games. The Trick Taker, the very fast thing, and I think Fujikado was similar. Which is like, okay, it's Fujiflash in English, it is just like, okay, if this works, then we have a game. If not, it's not. It's just like, okay, I have an idea, let's try it, it worked, and of course I had to work on the card distribution and something like that, but it was, kind of ready, so maybe a month, I would say, is the fastest.
So let's see. Peter here is asking, is there any trends or new mechanism that you've seen that you'd like to incorporate into a future design?
I'm by now curious about that. There are a lot of roll and writes by now. The die roller and write something down. Maybe I try one of these one day. But nothing else in my mind.
Let's see what else we've got here. We have a ton of questions. I'm trying to get them through them all, guys. So just keep them coming. Here's one from Stefano, and this is more for people getting more into the industry. Is how do you know when the design is good enough to be presented to a publisher?
When I win the game. It's just easy. It's just when I design the game, my mind is on the designing, on the observation of what the others do, on what's happening there. So I'm distracted from the main goal, winning the game. When I'm not distracted anymore from winning the game, then I win the game. And when I win the game very often, I think, okay, I do not think about the game anymore. I just only think how to win the game. So the game is a game now. It's ready. It's just easy. When I start winning my game, I know I'm ready.
Yeah. So here's another interesting one. Talking about the different markets here, Jens is asking, when you design a game, do you think about the European market or the American market, and how have things changed with the different markets over the years?
I think it was the other way around for me. It was just like I can design whatever I like, I will find a market for it. It's just like, oh, nice. Now I don't have to think if it fits for my German market. I can just do a thing which might not work well in the German market, but it might work in the American market or in the South Asia market. So I'm not limited anymore. I can say, okay, I try it. And if the German people say, ooh, yeah, maybe here at the gathering, the American people say, oh, great, I like it. So it's fine.
Yeah, so here's one about a general question. Kabuki Kid is asking, from designing 504, have you learned a lot of innovative ideas to make and use them for future games based on all these ideas you put together in 504?
Not really. I think the core idea of 504 is putting three things together and look how they work together. And just like I think I learned that I learned how to deal with when I put different ideas together to create one new, and how to deal with that and to yeah, the interfaces, maybe to call it the interfaces between the two ideas. To that there's So there 504 was very good for to see, because if you use 504 as a game system, right, you just start with one combination and change little and look what's happening. Then you get into the process of 504, and I think that's the best way to play 504. To start somewhere and then explore the complete 504 from that.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Well, thank you for coming on. Thank you for the audience to ask questions. I see Ted Alspach next, sitting in the back there. So if you have questions for Ted, start putting them out now, and we'll get to them. But thank you as always, Friedemann, and we'll see you during the week. So let's bring Ted in. We're changing up the order. I didn't see Josh yet, so I'm going to bring Ted in first, but we're going to go with the flow. You know, this is casual. We're here at the gathering, just hang in. So
I don't know how casual it is. I was ordered to be
the guy who's wearing shorts in Niagara Falls while it's snowing. How casual is it?
All right.
It's super casual.
That's true. Yeah, that's but I always wear shorts, so it's all right.
So let's talk about what you've been doing lately. Obviously, Werewolf has been the thing.
Yeah.
And you have a few new products. You have the Legacy, which I see a box back there. So Werewolf Legacy, this should come out real soon, right?
Yep, this is not Gen Con.
Perfect. And in addition, you're doing more stuff in the Werewords universe.
Yeah, so Deluxe Edition of Werewords, this is a Kickstarter for it, that went well. We're going to release that at Gen Con, so we got a lot more roles, a new mode called Speedwords, which is very cool, and all new art, and a whole bunch of other stuff, so that'll be out in a few months as well. So yeah, we've got Werewords, we've got Werewolf, Ultimate Werewolf Legacy, Werebeast, just released. That's available in stores. I think it was last week. It just came out, so people can get that now. What else is there? There's other fun stuff going on. We have a brand new announcement in the werewolf world, which you can't talk about quite yet. So close, though. So close. So excited.
This is give us the spoiler. Ignacy already spoiled us. We expect it now.
So, really? So it's a thing?
Yes.
It's basically another game in the one night series, but it's not.
Really?
It's not a one night game.
Oh,
Is that a
it's not a one night game, but it's in the one night series. Ooh, you guys heard it here first on the Dice Tower Live. As we always say, let's get to some questions. I've already seen a few questions come in, and the first one I think is great. From Peter here. If there were no werewolves, what theme would you put into your games?
Well, I mean, we have other things that aren't just werewolf games, so that's the werewolf thing has been really nice. It's been really good to us. Obviously, we've done really well with it. But I like all sorts of types of creatures, and there's plenty of other things to choose from. I haven't given it a lot of thought because werewolves are there, but certainly our vampire game and our alien game did very well. The next actual one-night game that we have does not have any werewolves in it, but that's going to be coming out a little later this year as well. But yeah, no, I couldn't pick a particular one. I'm not a fan of Cthulhu because it scares me. It's creepy, and the whole thing, that mind control and everyone is, that's not good. But yeah, I don't know. I probably another along the classic lines of the monsters. I like those. Dracula sort of, and Frankenstein and werewolf and thing from the Black Lagoon. All that stuff is really cool.
All those universal
universal ones.
Cool. So speaking of that, Otter has a question here. He's a huge fan of the Castles of Mad King Ludwig. How did you come up with the original theme for the whole Ludwig series?
So originally, the Castles of Mad King Ludwig was actually called Mansions, and as we were doing it, one of the things my wife said was, well, this is ridiculous because there's no way we'd have a mansion with one bathroom, because we had a powder room, and that was it. And so that got us thinking right away. We brought Dale Yu on as developer. He's developed Suburbia and a few other games for us as well. And it was actually his suggestion to go with Mad King Ludwig. And both Dale and myself, both of us had been to Neuschwanstein, the big castle that Ludwig is most famous for. And as soon as he said it, it was incredibly obvious that, yes, this game makes so much sense. The game was already there, pretty much. It just didn't have the name and the association with it. As soon as he said that, though, it was perfect. We just jumped on that, and then after that, we kind of went with that and some of the things changed a little bit. We changed up, obviously the theming and made it more castle-like as opposed to mansion-like.
Yeah.
Overall.
And Peter has to ask this, since we're on this whole theming thing now. Would werewolves ever show up in something like Suburbia, or I guess in Mad King Ludwig, would werewolves come and attack the?
Well,
it
would make sense. I think in one of the castle's rooms they're playing werewolf. I forget which one, but one of the rooms in castles, they're playing werewolf on the table. I don't think they're doing that in Suburbia at all, but in the new, we're doing a collector's edition of Suburbia later this year, and some of the special stuff we're going to have some fun little tidbits from the other games in there, and you're certainly going to see a werewolf or two, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, here's another interesting question from Endgame. What inspired the decision to move some titles to app form, and what do you think about app-driven games? What do you think they provide that tabletop games don't?
Yeah, so I mean, for me personally, I like app games that I can play by myself. I have played things with other people, both passive play as well as online, but a lot of times if people aren't around and I want a game experience, that for me, if there's a good solo game or a really good campaign, I really love campaigns, and anyone who's played Suburbia or Castles knows, I mean, we put a lot of effort into those campaigns, especially Castles, and tried to make them as engaging and addictive as possible. And I think for me, I want to replicate the feel of the board game, but to do it a lot faster. In a board game, you're chatting, you're taking your time, you're thinking, you've got the tactile feel of the pieces. You don't have that otherwise. And so I think that quickly being able to go quickly through the game and play, and I think certainly for Castles of Suburbia, you get that feel that you're able to speed through. You can play a game in 5-10 minutes for both of those, even multiple players or multiple computer players. So for me, that's what's important. And also, we hear so often that people have purchased the real games of those because they played the apps.
Yes.
And that's awesome. That's fantastic. Not just from a sales perspective, but the fact that we're actually getting people to play board games that might not have otherwise. They realize, hey, and it's certainly, we hear that from Ticket to Ride. We've heard it from a bunch of other games. They're the more mainstream-ish games. Probably won't see that as much with games like Through the Ages or some of the more involved, deeper games, because I think you still have to have a little bit of board game drive to go to the heavier games. But the lighter stuff, that's awesome that we're getting people to play board games that wouldn't have played them before because they played in it.
Yeah, it is very kind of interesting, and even your games that aren't only app like Werewords, the app is an important part of the game.
Yeah, I'm super happy with both One Night and Werewords with our apps. They're the original One Night, when we started working on it, it didn't have an app, and actually there was a need for it. There was as we're developing the game, that night phase, making someone, even if they were playing, which you could still do, you can still just read the little script there or memorize it and kind of go through the night things. But it was a bit of a burden, and someone, obviously for myself, when I'm teaching the game, well, I know everything inside out, it doesn't take any time, but someone who's new, I have to hold on, did I do that right? Does everyone have enough time? They're pausing. And when it's their turn, it's really hard because they're trying to read the stuff, do their action, and then you sound different. Even I sound different when I'm actually, I'm aware. I wake up werewolves and look around, and I'm smiling or look at the other werewolves, and I'm taking longer or whatever. So you don't want to give away that stuff. And coming up with an app solved a lot of those problems. It solved that problem. It solved the end. We had a timer thing at the end, like how long should people discuss things for. And I'm never a fan of sound timers in games, just because they're inconsistent between different sound timers, but also you don't, if you're engaged in a conversation, most people don't notice when the sound timer's done, and then you're chatting, and someone's like, oh, you know what, we were out of time a little while ago, we should have stopped or done something at that point, and oops. So, actually having that in the app, so, it has Eric's booming voice saying, hey, time's up, gotta vote, 3, 2, 1, vote. That helps a lot.
I personally love that app. I mean, I don't know if you ever heard the story, but the first Dice Terror cruise, Eric was my roommate, so every night I'd be like, Eric, so I could fall asleep, I'd be like, Eric, you need to say, Jason, close your eyes.
In the morning, though, did he go, okay, Jason, wake up?
He did. A few mornings he did that.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's great. No, I mean, in a creepy way. But, yeah.
He really didn't do that, guys. But it's still funny.
I can just see whispering over
about it.
Wake up.
Or he just puts the app on and puts it next to my
That's
head.
true, yeah.
And the alarm goes off with the app. So I guess going back to Mad King Ludwig here, Tiago's asking, because of the success of Palaces, are you going to go back and do more expansions for Castles, or are you done with Castles and now you're going to work on Palaces?
No, there's actually something brand new for Castles coming out, which I can't talk about yet, but something brand new for Castles is coming out this year too.
Oh,
and that's
excellent.
there because not many people have heard about that, but very excited about that too. Something pretty much nobody is expecting. Anybody who has heard about what it actually is that we're doing has gone, "That is awesome!" And then I'm like, "Okay, we can't tell anyone." They're like, "Nah," and they get all jittery like that. But we're very excited about a totally new game that's going to be Castles based or related. So it's very cool.
Okay, here's another question about this new non-one night game. Now everyone's curious about it. Now that you spoiled it here, Jens is asking, is it going to be a regular release Kickstarter? What
We're going to put it on Kickstarter because we have some extras. We try to do stuff on Kickstarter when we have something extra to offer, whether it's playmats or extra rolls or whatever. And in this case, we have some really cool extras lined up that we just don't make sense to fit into the base game, but are great for Kickstarter, for stretch goals, for extra reward, higher reward levels, that we would love to do to kind of make the game more special. So it'll definitely be on Kickstarter in May.
Yeah. So here, which is cool because then it'll be coming out around Gen Con time or Essen time or somewhere in there.
Yeah, that'll probably be at Essen. That'll probably ship at Essen.
So here's another interesting question from Mark. Do you have particular people that playtest your games? Are they friends or colleagues? And what do you look for in a playtester, especially when you're playtesting these games that need such a big group to playtest?
Yeah, we actually have a group. We have it's a private group, meetup group that we set up for a local area. So we're in Eastern Tennessee, and we have a meetup group there for playtesters that we have about 50, 60 people in. And they cycle through, and some of them play multiple. A lot of them will want to play all the time. Some come other times, and that's actually really nice. It's a great way to set that up. It's kind of a consistent base. But I love to get people who I don't normally play test with testing games, because you can't have the same people testing again. When we were in California, we had a group that did a lot of the core testing, and then we went out to other people after that. But as far as I'm concerned, the wider variety of people you can have play testing, the more feedback you can get from different people, the better the game is going to be. So, yeah.
You have a whole bunch of people here. There's literally like 5 or 6 people after my story said they want Eric in more of your apps. You have to hire him for every app you do from now on.
Yeah.
It sounds like. I don't know if the English guy went over as well.
He didn't. Actually, we didn't get Eric to do the werewords thing. Well, actually, the funny story is, I initially approached Eric about doing werewords, and we kind of wanted, because werewords is a little more highbrow than One Night, and not that One Night's like One Night anyway, but werewords, it's a word game, so there's a little more going on there. And so, we decided we wanted to go with a British personality. And so we asked Eric to do it. And if you ever ask Eric to do a British voice, he sucks. He's terrible. It's awful.
That's right, Eric.
No British voices. It's hysterical. I shouldn't say he sucks, but it's not. It's not good. It's not good because he does awesome voices, but British ones, not his thing. So we went with a BBC person for that, which I liked a lot, but definitely he was a little more laid back, probably, and so we switched that up for Werewords Deluxe, and we're basically redoing the app, and in August it'll be out for both Deluxe and regular game. We have a new one, and our new voice he was a morning DJ, so he is much more, he's bombastic, he's kind of in your face, and adds a lot more energy and excitement to the game than I think the kind of the laid back British guy did that you could probably play. Werewords we're having while having tea with the other guy. This guy you cough up your tea probably. You're like, oh.
Yeah, no, that's it'll be a very change from the stuff we pizza.
Yeah. Yeah, and people made fun of the way he said Maya, wake up. And I'm like, all right, okay. He's British. He doesn't know how to say an R. That's not his fault. He's born that way.
So William here has another interesting question. Speaking of the whole week we're here, hope to get out of the gathering when you come? I know I see you playtesting Legacy in the past, like last year you were playtesting. What do you usually look for out of the convention here?
I mean, number one, it's really just nice to it's such a laid back group as opposed to playtesting or a convention where we've got specific things that have to be done in terms of getting products out to people or events or things like that. It's much more laid back. So, I mean, for me, it's close to a vacation. It's still not because we're working, but it's much more relaxed. So, in general, I like to be able to show the new stuff that we have, get some feedback on playtests, but the gathering is not, at least for us, it's not really about playtest feedback. It's more of, hey, there's a preview of some of the new things that are coming in. So that non-one night game, so we have it here and secretly showing it to some people.
I'm going to be playing this week now. Or else I'm never going to have you on again when I host the segment. So I'll be able to tell you guys. I won't be able to spoil anything, but I'll tell you guys how awesome it is because I have a feeling I'm going to think it's awesome, like I do with most of them.
It's unexpected. Oh, like that.
Don't worry, you guys will find out how amazing it is because I mean, if it's anything like One Night or if it's even in the same kind of play style as One Night, it's probably going to be really good because deduction games are great in general.
Good. Yeah, no one should be surprised that they're seeing this game coming from us and that it fits into the One Night line of games overall.
Yeah. No, it sounds great. We're definitely looking forward to it, and me now, I'm looking forward to playing it this week. So I will find you at some point, but it's a pleasure to have you on as always,
definitely.
Ted. And thank you, audience, for the questions for Ted. I see Josh from CGE Games made it here, so we're going to bring Josh in now.
Yay. All right.
And if you have questions about any CGE Games products, I know you guys are.
Why don't I answer some CGE Games product questions while I'm here?
We could do that too.
That's
So
I mean, I could answer them.
What are the newest Codenames releases? Can you answer these, Ted?
I don't have time. I don't have time for that. There's like 20 different. It's basically they've licensed everything at this point.
Not
Barney Miller Codenames.
Codenames Ultimate Werewolf. I haven't seen
Barney
that
Miller
yet.
Codenames. I mean, really, seriously. That was one. What was it? Charlie's Angels Codenames. Spice Girls Codenames. Josh is he's ignoring me.
Tell me what you want, what you really, really want.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. No, that's pretty good stuff. All right.
So we're gonna bring Josh in now, and I think I might have an exclusive scoop about the Spice Girls Codenames thing.
Definitely, you do not.
Definitely, I do not. But let's just ask you right off the bat. I know obviously you've done the licensing deals with USAopoly on the Disney one, the Marvel one. Do you have are there other Codenames products? I missed Gamma, so I'm catching up.
Yeah,
here.
so not from us, but in the licensing vein, it's already been announced. USAopoly is doing a Harry Potter version.
Ooh, Hogwarts 5, and it's gonna be every single thing. It's gonna match Hogwarts.
Then that might not be a good clue.
I might not be the best at the game anymore.
That's okay. So yeah, we have a great partner with USAopoly for the license stuff, so we're very happy with what we're doing with them, and we also work with them because we don't want there just to be an inundation of too many products, but also making sure that they and we are working together to select products that make sense, and there can be a broad enough topic in the game, so it's not as limiting as some of the examples the two of you were just given. While they're fun to talk about, we also do take care in the game to make sure that there's a lot of replayability and that it will function with each other.
You don't want to spice up your life here?
No.
So, on Codenames itself, obviously, each year since it came out, you've come up with something new, whether it's pictures, duet, etc. Is there future Codenames ideas or future things that you can work on?
We have maybe one more idea left. It's not going to be a product for this year though. This year, what we've done is, some people may have seen the oversized Codenames that we have at convention, and we sent them out to stores for promotions last year. We're putting the regular Codenames version in a box for players to purchase with the big oversized cards. So they're almost index card size. So those work really well with a large group around the table, maybe people that can't see the small words on the cards. So that'll be out this year. But as far as a brand new Codenames product from CGE Games, not from this year. except for that oversized version, like I said. And then USAopoly, they'll have Harry Potter once the licensing and approval and artwork and all that stuff gets approved by Warner Brothers and by the Rowling estate.
Yeah, I know people have asked me in the past about Pictures Duet. I'm assuming at some point there's going to be a Pictures Duet because you get more Pictures cards out there.
That's kind of the next logical progression. The images are a bit more difficult, not difficult, but take more time to create than the words, especially because of the nature of the images that are in the game itself. So we need to get the artists that worked on it, some of the artists that worked on it, maybe some new ideas, some fresh ideas, so that we don't see a lot of the same concepts repeated. So that's definitely in the cards for maybe another version, but like I said, that will not be this year.
Yeah. So let's see what kind of questions we have.
Sure.
Here, Otter is asking a question. Have you ever considered using Codenames as like a language teaching platform, and maybe doing it in different languages as a teaching platform?
So the game is available in more than 34 languages already. So that's definitely out there and available. And we've had teachers and just people in general that have said, "Oh, I played this with my uncle from Quebec, or I played with my grandma from Germany, or whatever." So yeah, definitely people do use it for the language assistance.
Which is kind of cool. It's like, who needs Rosetta Stone anymore? We could just use Codenames.
Yeah, I've had a lot of, like I said, a lot of school teachers that have told me that they've tracked down a Spanish copy or a German copy or a French copy to play in their class with their students. So yeah, that's a great idea.
So another one, Dutch Yoda is asking, and I'm guessing he's from the Netherlands, or she. The licensed versions, are they going to be available in Europe? I know there's always issues about getting licenses across.
Yeah, so we do not have control over that necessarily. So that is because USAopoly has the licenses with those. That's something that they need to work out for international licensing rights, whether it be with Marvel or Disney or Harry Potter. So there's a bit more red tape involved in that process, and that's a little bit beyond our control. We would love to see it be worldwide, but there are some things in place that we can't necessarily control.
Yeah, of course, because, you know.
Or just find someone from the U.S. maybe to send you one as a gift, or come to Gen Con, or get something there. So you can always come pick one up here, or maybe find somebody that would be able to get one for you. The gaming community is very large.
But don't ask us personally. We can't pick up 100 copies of Gen Con and ship them out.
Right.
We'd love to, but I don't think we could. Oh, very interesting question. Fitting in with Ted. Yeah. Like a Codenames Legacy. Have you thought about making? Since Legacy seems to be the hot thing.
It is. I mean, it's an idea that we have tossed around, but it's it's a very, very complicated process to do. It seems very simple now because so many games are Legacy, but the execution of that positive game experience through the entire thing is very hard to do. So people are like, well, just tear up the word cards that you use, or you miss, or add words, or do whatever. But we have to make sure that the game functions on all levels. So when you play things like Pandemic or Charterstone or some Risk Legacy or any of these games that are legacy based, they function from beginning to end without really a lot of breakdowns. So it's a lot more challenging than you think to design that.
Yeah. And I guess they wrote another thing here, which I personally don't agree with, but they're asking, have you ever thought about making like Codenames Pack? Not so much, they're writing Codenames CCG, but I wouldn't call it that, but more, have you thought about doing like little additional packs of new cards?
So the only thing that we have for extra cards right now like that is we have a couple of promo packs. One is board game based, and I think it's 10 cards double-sided with board game terms. And then we have another pack that's CGE Games specific based, so it's words from our games. Again, kind of backing up a few steps like I was talking about, making sure that the Codenames experience all works together. Just the packs of cards themselves, there's a lot of design work that goes into making sure that we're picking the right words to work together and interact with each other. So really just a pack by itself probably isn't going to be that great, which is why each version of the game has new content that you can play by itself or join together in the ecosystem that we have.
Yeah, exactly.
At $20, it's a full game that you can mix and match with the other ones. And I know a lot of places you can find it for less expensive online, but 20 is really kind of the ceiling. That's the suggested price, and it's really a great value considering the replay you get out of it.
Exactly. So while we wait for some more questions, if you guys have questions, just shoot them in there.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the other games. Obviously, it's been a heavy game, then a light game, then a heavy game kind of thing in the last few years. Pulsar took off really well.
Yeah, we had Pulsar. We had Pulsar 2849 last year. The year prior to that, we had Adrenaline. But because some of these games are coming out at Essen and they don't get to North America until the beginning of December, it's kind of in a lot of people's minds, and including mine. And I work with our stuff every day. It kind of gets rolled into the next year. But Pulsar 2849, we had a great game that released at Essen with that product. So we're very happy with that. It's been well received by reviewers, well received by players. It's really just kind of picked up more steam. For those of you that are not familiar with it, it is a dice drafting Euro game where there are multiple paths to victory. You're exploring space, you're developing technologies, you're creating gyrodynes that you put on stars with all those points. So it's a great game that I really love playing.
Yeah, no, I loved it too. I mean, me and Tom played it right after. It was one of the games that we brought home. Mm-hmm. We have a little suitcase, and we only bring home certain games in the suitcase, the ones that we're the most excited about, and that fit in there. And we played, and we were like, oh, this is great. And I couldn't believe it for a Euro. Tom even liked it more than I liked it. I loved it.
Yeah.
Tom loved it. And I was like, this is amazing, because Tom usually is not as Euro style.
Yeah, and there were I think 2, maybe 3 copies on the cruise that on the Dice Tower cruise.
Yes.
And it was getting played constantly, and I would stop and teach people all the time. So it was great to see that take off. And like I said, since we moved into the new year, and it's more widely available because now there's more time. People are after the holiday season. They're ready to play more games and see what they missed or picked up on. And what the reviewers have said is good product coming out of there. So we've seen great response to that title.
Yeah.
And then even going back the year before, Adrenaline, which is our kind of first-person shooter themed Euro game, we have an expansion that we are working on for that should be out this year, which will be it adds a 6th player, so now you can play up to 6 players. But we've also introduced team play, so you can play 3 versus 3, or even if we have you have one side and I have one side, it still functions as a 2-player game, but now we have teams of characters versus each other.
Oh, so you're going to add a team mode, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, and we have that there. We have this here at the Gathering, so maybe we can get a game in there.
I am. Anytime that I get invited to play a new game or get to play it beforehand, I'm you guys know at home, I'm super excited. So now I'm gonna have by the end of these issues, I'm gonna have a whole list of games I'm gonna get to play this week. And I loved Adrenaline, so Adrenaline Team sounds like it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool. The mechanic for making the team stuff work, we were planning on having it released last year, but it just wasn't working the way that we wanted it to. There were some rough edges to smooth out. So we, instead of rushing the product to market and having it not be as good as we could, we just held off, polished it up some, and now we're in the final stretch.
Yeah. Do you have any other titles, like I guess original titles, coming out this year?
Yeah, so we have another game which is an unnamed word game at this point. So instead of just saying the names that we're using internally, I don't want to confuse anybody. So right now it is an unnamed word game.
That might sell if you just call the game Unnamed Word Game.
Yeah, we might.
Unnamed Word Game. What do you guys think? Would you buy a game called Unnamed Word Game?
So we are working on another unnamed word game, and it's I have that here as well. So we've been playing that for the last couple of days, getting good response and good feedback on that. Yeah, you can definitely join us for one of those games. It's very short, takes about 20-30 minutes, like a lot of our other titles. So it is a departure from the Codenames family and brand. So it's not the same style of game, other than there are words involved.
Is this the one that I played, or I know you had a few
This
things.
is not the one that
this
you played.
This is not the one that I played. This is a different.
The one that you played is like future.
Future.
So the one that you played is like 2019.
Okay, well then I will be trying the other one. Oh, this is great. This is definitely great.
Yeah, the one that we had you play, basically you played the framework of the experience, because we want to lock that down and make that solid, and then we're going to add the other complexities to it, but we want to make sure that the core is working before we start introducing a lot of other ideas. But the game for later this year, I have here, and you can definitely join us.
Definitely. So speaking of games and that, it seems like obviously party games and stuff. Czech Games originally was known more as a heavy game company at the beginning, and then got into code names and doing lighter games. Is there more heavy games in the pipeline?
So yes, to all of those things. Basically, in the beginning, I mean, the company's been around for about 11 years now. Obviously, we started with Through the Ages and also Galaxy Trucker. So people don't usually associate Galaxy Trucker with a super heavy game. It can be thinky but we also have had titles like Bunny Bunny Moose Moose. Pictomania is our title, which we've actually got back into our catalog, and we're re-releasing this year, so it'll be a smaller box, lower price point, much more accessible, and we've streamlined some of the scoring. So there has kind of been an interspersing of games that have been a little bit lighter for us. But yeah, most people are like Zulkin, Dungeon Pets, Through the Ages, all of these heavier, more meaty, beefy games. So we want to release games that are done when they're ready. So like I said earlier, instead of just rushing a product to market, we want to make sure that the game works, it functions. There's been a couple games that we thought were going to be done and we kind of have pushed aside to give development work on. We have a couple things that 2019/2020 we're looking at that are maybe more in that heavy style. But again, last year we had Pulsar.
Yes.
The year before we had Adrenaline, which if you kind of overlook it because it's at the end of the year, you might miss it. So we're just trying to do our best to make sure that people are educated about those games, which is why we talk to you guys, make sure you get reviews, bring them on the cruise, take them to shows. We do scheduled playtesting or scheduled demos at all the events we go to. So if you're going to Origins or Gen Con or even Dice Tower Convention, we'll have some stuff down there, and sometimes that we'll work with people to make sure that they get to play, because we definitely want to share all of our games.
Yes, which is, I mean, like, it's one of the best catalogs of games out there. So
thank you.
It's there's a lot of good Euros, and then there's a lot of good party games, a lot of good everything, and it's a good mix.
But yeah, the question that you asked is usually like, when's Vlada making another big game?
Yes.
He is working on stuff, but again, like we said, when it's ready, and we want to bring it to you when it's ready and really good.
So I see two last questions.
Yeah, what's up?
I see something called, quote, Underwater Cities. Is this your game, or is this not your game?
Underwater Cities is not our game.
Okay, so sorry about that.
It's okay. So Underwater Cities is a game that we were working with the designers on, and we are not anymore. There's nothing bad. We're not upset. We're not mad. It just is not working for us. So right now, Underwater Cities is not ours.
Okay, so the answer is no. It won't come out from CGE anymore. But then,
currently it's not. So who knows what the future holds? But right now, it is not planned to be with us. So we wish them the best. Like, they're great people to work with. They're great designers. I know them. They're fantastic. But it's just not a title that we're doing right now.
Exactly. Here's something. And let's maybe end with this question, because I see Dominic Crapuchettes from North Star Games, so he wasn't on my little list there, but
that's okay.
North Star Games, so be prepared if you have questions for them. But here's one that's interesting. Have you thought about, for code names like a sign language edition for people, so people who sign can play the game as well? Have you thought about doing any editions like that?
I guess I don't understand the question fully, because I would think that you could give clues in sign language
and still read the words,
and still be able to read the words. Or are you specifically you want the hand signals on the cards?
I'm not sure. I mean,
well, that's what I mean. I'm not sure either.
Language would be interesting. And then right below it says, how about a Braille version?
People have talked about a Braille version. The printing process for something like a Braille version would be very complex, and I don't know that is something that our printer would be able to handle.
Yeah.
But if anybody has any information about that or knows how that process might be done, that's just not something we're an expert at. But if you are, then definitely just contact us through the website and say, hey, this is a neat idea, and these are ways that I think that they might be able to help.
Yeah, because I mean, it would be nice, obviously, if everyone who's into gaming is able to try something, and if you can't hear the word or if you can't see the word, it's still nice to be able to somehow get into that. And it's interesting thinking about ways to turn obviously a game that relies heavily on words and speaking into something fluid.
Yeah, and like I said, we definitely want that. So if you have information or an expert in those areas, definitely reach out to us. We get great feedback like that all the time, and short story, that's actually how Codenames Duet came about. Is Scott Eaton reached out to us, and he said, "Hey, I really love Codenames. My wife really loves Codenames. We like playing with our family, but the family's not always around. So I've made this 2-player version. Can I put it on Board Game Geek and have it be a free thing?" We're like, "Well, no, but what if we develop it some and we just print it as a game?" So the smallest idea might result in something like that. So Scott Eaton just reached out to us through our normal email. It went across Peter Cheslava's desk, and he said, "This is really cool. Let's work on this." So something like a Braille version, or if you have ideas for these other versions, definitely send them in. Not saying they're going to get done or picked up, but we definitely want to hear that feedback and look into everything that we can.
So if you're a budding designer out there and have ideas to add in something, it's always worth reaching out to a company because you never know what could happen. Well, as always, it's a pleasure seeing you, Josh.
All right, Jason. Good to see you, man.
I'll be definitely playing Unnamed Word Game. I think that's going to be hashtag and trending in about a few minutes here. Unnamed Word Game, the game.
All right.
Or Unnamed Word Game, the dice version. We'll figure out something.
Oh my goodness.
But let me let you go, and we'll see you the rest of the week. And,
all right, we'll get Dominic in here, and I'll see you later.
We'll get Dominic in here now.
Bye, everyone.
What are we doing? So, if you guys like wits and wagers and stuff, here comes Dominic we'll put in your questions here, and we'll talk all about. And we have a surprise guest behind me.
Surprise?
Don't photobomb my interviews, Tom.
Sorry.
I'm joking. You can come in too, Tom.
No, too late.
Since you love hosting Dice Tower game shows, and we use a lot of wits and wagers. This is perfect.
No, go ahead.
So I'm confused. I'm looking at Josh. Oh, what's going on?
Oh.
Josh is leaving us.
This is behind.
That's the past.
This is the past.
Yeah, I'm figuring this out. Wow. I'm in the future. Whoa,
You're in the
Tom.
future, and Tom just joined us.
Here.
So you guys have a lot going on. Obviously, you have wits and wagers. You have all sorts of new wits and wagers products. You have Evolution. You released new Evolution stuff. Let's talk about what's going on with your company now.
Oh, okay. Our company has gotten very big. Well, relatively speaking, we're at like 20 people. We hired people, say 3 years ago, and so we've had games in the pipeline that are slowly germinating, and they're all like starting to come out now. So our product line, we've released about 15 games since 2003.
Yeah.
This year we're going to release 7. So we've kind of just exploded. For hobby, so some of that is like our Happy Planet line. But for hobby, we have a Gen Con release, and then one that we've licensed called Capital. And then in the pipeline, we have Paint the Roses. We have a Super Wits and Wagers, a team game where it's the super villains playing against the superheroes.
Ooh, which I see a box there.
Yeah. Now, if I show this here, when will they see it?
They'll see it live because the feed delays, so we will see it in about 10 to 15 seconds, even though they've already seen it.
Oh, okay.
It's time delay, folks.
I'm new to this internet thing. I'm old. So, what else do we have? We have an Evolution game called Oceans. It's a standalone.
Oh, nice.
And we've decided we pushed that off. It was ready, I'd say, a while ago. And we pushed it off because we want to release it at the same time with the expansion. So, and we're trying to get that base game down to like a $25 price point, and then maybe $15 for the expansion, so that like some of the hardcore gamers can just buy them both as one package. But the base game.
They're doing construction next door in the hotel, and it sounds very interesting right now. But oh no, continue on. Don't worry about that. They can still hear us. And for those who are asking about the webcam, we're using a webcam for this. We didn't bring all the equipment out, so that's why sound quality might not be great. But continue on. Let's hear more about the product.
Yeah. So that's Oceans, an Evolution game, and another game in the pipeline is Paint the Roses, which is a Alice in Wonderland themed game.
Ooh.
And it is a cooperative deduction game. So we're trying to figure out what the queen wants us to paint the roses, like how she wants her garden. And every time you start figuring out what what she actually wants, she changes her mind because really what she wants to do is chop off your heads.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so we're getting questions now.
All right.
So here's the first question that they're asking about is with the Wits and Wagers, the giant mat and the giant set. Are you going to make that available to distribution or for people to be able to buy the giant Vegas Wits and Wagers mats?
So that was a limited print run, and that is available in distribution and on our website, I think right now. We are going to turn that into a boxed version without the big, huge, giant map. It will be like a normal sized game. But very likely we will stop printing the original Wits and Wagers yellow box, and that will turn into the Vegas Wits and Wagers because we just think that this is just the best version we've done.
Yeah. So that's going to be the future version. And this is something for most publishers is. Peter is specifically asking if you still provide replacement parts for Say Anything, but how do people go about trying to get replacement parts for products?
So with us, go to our website, go to the Contact Us tab, and then just let them know what components you need, and usually we'll respond within a day or two and send out new components.
Yeah. So Otter has an interesting question, which is it goes beyond just this, but he's asking, since Wits and Wagers is relatively simple as far as game mechanics, do you experience a lot of copycat publishers doing similar things, and how do you handle that? Because copyright laws are very different in board gaming, and it seems like people are able to do this more. How do you protect against that when you come up with an idea and then other people say, this is great, let's make something Fits and Fagers?
That's a good question. So we do have a patent pending, and we've been granted a patent. So there is some extra protection that we have on top of copyright law, which doesn't actually protect anything in the board game space. What does protect us is trademark. People can't actually call it Wits and Wagers.
Yeah.
So, and Wits and Wagers is the game that people want. We spend a lot of time crafting our questions, and so we have great questions. I don't know. We could go after some of the copycats for who are breaking our patents, probably. But I don't think we would do anything like that unless it became a problem. Right now, there's really no other game that's competing with Wits and Wagers that I know of.
Well,
not on the scale that we're selling Wits and Wagers.
Oh yes, of course. I mean, Wits and Wagers is the dominant trivia game in that style, so it's hard to compete with something that has the name brand recognition anyway.
Yeah, that's what I think it is. People know that brand now. I mean, you could come up with a trivia game, with I guess you can't use pie pieces, but you could make, I don't know, pizza, I don't know, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But, I mean, people are gonna see some trivia game they've never heard of, or Trivial Pursuit, and the people that want the Trivial Pursuit, they're just gonna buy Trivial Pursuit.
Exactly. So here's another interesting, I guess, a licensing question about Wits and Wagers. Have you thought about licensing like a TV edition or other editions?
Heck yeah. Yeah, so I spent a lot of time pitching a television game show in Hollywood right before my first kid, and we had a deal that we were working on with, I think CBS Television Studios wanted it. I actually met with the CEO of the studio, which is crazy. And then Sony wanted it, so Embassy Row. And so we had like a bidding war, and I was a little bit ignorant of the scene, and I pushed too hard and got a crazy good deal. And in the end, it got dropped. So it is now still being pitched by other people inside the industry. So we basically handed over the rights to, that people are optioning it. And as soon as the option's done, we always have like 3 or 4 people that want to option the idea. So it's in the works. Who knows if it'll ever happen, because it's kind of been this continual state for several years where someone has the option and they pitch it around and they have some interest, and it's never actually happened.
Yeah. So here's another Wits and Wagers question that I can see here is, let me find it again. Gotta scroll back. Is about the cards, going from 7 cards. You had 7 questions on the cards.
Yeah.
And now it's 2. Have you ever thought about going back to more questions on each card, or
no, never thought about
2?
That. Yeah. No, that just led to a lot of confusions. A lot of people just I forget what it was, but did it incorrectly. So two seems to work well.
Yeah, it's just interesting because I know people want more and more and more.
More questions? Well, you can go to our website and buy any question pack of any game that we sell. So we'll sell you just the questions. So there are 3 different packs. There might be 4 packs out there right now.
Yeah, so you don't need to keep buying base game. You just buy more questions.
Just buy the questions, yeah. So we've done a lot of research, and very few people go through all the questions, like very few. And so including them in the game requires a lot of work and time, a lot of editing, a lot of research, and we start off with like 4,000 questions that are submitted to us internally and externally, and we filter that down to 200. So that it just takes a lot of time to get to really good questions. And so we don't want to provide more questions than most of the people who are buying it are using. We want to provide, enough for 80-90% of our users, and then the 10% can get other question packs.
Oh, so here I just saw another question that flew by asking about a Wits and Wagers app where you could have questions constantly coming up through an app. Have you thought about something like this?
Thought about it. So a lot of people don't realize how much time we put into questions and how much we test them. So yeah, we could put out a bunch of bad questions, but I feel like that would hurt the brand. So I don't think that people would pay for the amount of work it would take for us to do that, because they would think of it as kind of like free. So it would either reduce the quality of the brand or it would be too expensive. People would think it was a ripoff.
Yeah. It's really tough. Oh, well, we already have something. They're asking if me and Tom could host your... Well, the fact that they asked if me and Tom, we need Eric. If we're going to do this, then Eric should also be part of this. Me and Tom and Eric will now be hosting the Wits and Wagers TV show.
I love it. Set it up. I love it. We are working on a digital infrastructure to help people host game shows. That's something we're working on right now.
Yes.
So hopefully that'll come out sometime in the near future.
Someone just asked about the Geek edition of the game, which never actually came out. That's what you're calling it. So if you're asking, it's not called Geek edition anymore. Now it's called Team Super Wits and Wagers.
Well, I don't know what it's actually called. Choose
your side for
now.
now.
That's a mock-up. Yeah, it is a team version of Wits and Wagers where the superheroes play against the supervillains. And it's got the regular party game core in the background, but then every player has a unique power. And the unique powers have synergies. And one team will bet and the other team will bet afterwards. So there's a discussion. Oh, there I get to see myself now showing the mock-up.
Only 15-second delay.
Nice. This is fascinating. And so it's just a really fun, geekified version of Wits and Wagers that brings in this really interesting element of strategy and discussion. So you're with a team, so you're discussing how you're gonna, cover the most spots on the board.
Yeah, exactly. That's, a team different game sounds very interesting. Oh, we're gonna get to see some.
Yeah, let's throw some stuff out. Yeah.
First view live here at Dice Tower. You guys are getting it. This is what we do when we do our live streaming.
This is just a prototype. This is just we're not close at all.
It doesn't matter. We're gonna show this off.
Can they see this?
They can see it. You can't see it yet.
I don't
for
know
about 15 seconds.
I don't know where I should.
Right here. Right here is perfect.
Okay. This is the Crusher. He is a goldfish in a mech suit, and he can crush the headquarters of other supervillains or superheroes that are next to him. This is the front side. This is where you write your answer, and this is Crusher's headquarters. When you want to activate your superpower, you place your superhero, or in this case, supervillain, on your answer board, and that'll activate your superpower. Oh, there, I can see it now. I'll just show a bunch of them. We got this one. That's their headquarters. He's the motivator. He motivates people. He's the inspirational leader.
That's me. I'm motivator.
It's kind of like you. We have the Wizard of Odds. That's the Wizard of Odds headquarters.
That's Tom. He loves rolling dice.
And the Wizard of Odds, when he bets on his headquarters, can switch the odds on the answers.
Oh, wow.
The Speedster. She is very, very fast. Her headquarters, obviously, you can see her obsession with speed. if she bets on her headquarters, she can jump to the next answer to the left or the right of her, to either adjacent answer.
Oh wow! So this really puts a twist on you. Everyone just puts down their bets. Now you could like move your bets. You can move things, and it's shaking up the whole betting board.
Shakes the whole thing up. We've got Portal, and Portal places a portal and can jump her like your friends through the portal to another answer.
Oh.
And so like you can get combos where like the speedster will jump over to the portal and then fly over to another spot. So when you're like placing this all down, not only are you talking about what you think the answer is, but you're trying to cover the spots in the smartest strategic way too.
No, this looks really, really good.
And you can see we're gonna have like cool pieces. This is we got the speedster coming off. This is a Dragon Rider.
The Dragon Rider, not of Pern, not of Pern, but it is a Dragon Rider. All
right, so that's.
Speaking of wits and wagers, here's an interesting question that just came through. Would you ever have like a submission contest or some way to have fans kind of submit questions, maybe do like a fan edition where fans submit questions and you pick them so you don't have to do all the work of putting them together?
Yeah, well, we've done that quite often, but we take submissions. If you get 10 questions in our game, we will give you a free copy of the game. So if you want to submit questions, you can reach out to us. Go to the best, because I've been doing other projects, so this is not right top of mind, but the best way to reach out to us would be go to our website, click on the Contact Us tab, and that email will get to me. And if you're interested, we have about 1,000 people who are rating questions, and so I send out surveys and stuff. I used to do it every week, but I've been slammed recently, but I'm going to start doing it again. And reach out to us. We would love that.
So I saw some questions about some of the other products that flew by here in our big question list. Someone asked about Oceans. Is it going to be a Kickstarter? Is it going to be a regular release? What is your plans for release on that? So, wait, we're getting a box now. Look
another
at this.
box. Yeah.
We're getting a box. Here's Oceans. You're seeing it, I think, for the first time. Did you show this at Gamados or not? If you didn't, then we're seeing it for the first time. So let's are we able to pull it open, or are we not?
Yeah, sure.
As you can see, it's got artwork that fits in the same vein as Evolution.
Oh yeah,
clearly.
Same artist. It's got beautiful art. We are, basically, the game. I can't see. Never know what's going on.
It's there. I promise that it's there.
Oh, that's two of the same cards. Just going to try to show some of the art. You can tell it's pretty amazing art.
This does look very nice, and Ocean theme is gorgeous. I mean, not that the other theme isn't gorgeous, but the Ocean theme is really gorgeous.
It's really beautiful. Yeah. We have an Apex Predator. Everyone wants the Apex Predator.
Yes.
The base game has been designed for quite a while. It's run smooth. It's really good. I actually showed it, played it around. Let's see, Shucks last year, even a little bit earlier. But we decided we wanted to release. So Oceans will be kickstarted. It's going to be a low price point game, very portable, simpler than Evolution, but more complicated than Evolution in the beginning. So it's a very easy game to get into, and then we're going to sell just expansion cards right at the same time for people that want to have more variety and more cards. And we'll have a slot in the box so that you can just buy the people that are interested in kind of the fuller experience. They'll get, I think we this hasn't exactly priced out yet, but I'm going to guess $25 and $15, so $25, $35, so $40 for the base game and the expansion. So it's just taken a lot of time to figure out how we want to kickstart it and how we want to price it, and we decided we really want to price it low and try to get as many new entrants into kind of the Evolution brand.
So I see two last questions, and then I might bring in another special guest. We have another designer who might come in shortly, who I can see standing over there waiting.
I have one thing I want to bring up too.
Oh yeah.
After.
So Chris had asked about Paint the Roses, and do you have artwork yet on it and stuff, because they're obviously interested. It's Alice in Wonderland theme, and people, look at this.
No, that's not actually our art though. This is just a mock-up. Though someone says we should, but this is like a grabbing images that we want to kind of match that style. we have a mock-up board. This is all mock-up stuff, though. This is not final in any way, shape, or form. So, yeah, it's coming along. The game's done. The game's been done for 6 months. We just haven't yet put it into the production line.
So for those who are interested there, you got to see first glance at the artwork, which is, or the proto artwork, because you never know, it's going to probably look 10 times better when it actually comes out.
Oh God, I would love that.
And I guess our other question, based on what we heard before, have you ever thought of making like Power Tools the board game?
What?
They were complaining when the jackhammer was going off back there. They thought, could you make something a Power Tools game out of that?
Yeah, maybe we can, and we can disrupt people. You know, Happy Salmon disrupts a lot of people at conventions. It's kind of like Power Tools.
It is.
So the one thing I want to bring up is Evolution. The video game will be coming out sometime this year, and
Evolution, the video, the app.
The app. But it'll come out on Steam, Android, and iOS.
Oh wow!
And it's got some Explore campaign stuff. It'll have online play. It's done much better than you would expect a normal. I hate the fact that I can't see what's going on.
15 seconds later, we'll see what you just held up.
We'll see what I held up, but it's actually done. We spent a lot of time and energy to make, I would say, a world-class app for the board game industry. I mean, it's really, really much better than what you'd expect. It's kind of modeled more after like a Hearthstone type of polish than like a normal board game polish. But it's really slick, really good, coming out later this year.
It looks, I mean, looking at that app, that looks really well done.
Yeah, we're very, very pleased with it.
Yes. It'll be a nice, easy way to play the game too. Oh wow, that does look good. You guys can't see what's going on now, but the app looks really cool, and I'm watching it be played. But thank you, Dominic, for coming on as always.
Appreciate it.
And we'll continue doing our little Wits and Wagers game shows that we do at some of our conventions along the way. So
awesome.
we love pulling out the big board and doing our tables of 15.
Thank you.
And
we will make it easier on you when we build out that digital infrastructure.
Yes. So anyway, I have one more designer here. He might not be as famous as the others, but let's bring him in anyway. And I guess we're going to do some regular Q&As or regular stuff.
No, actually, we're going to shut down for two main reasons. One, I want to actually play games today, but more importantly, I want to go eat lunch.
Oh, okay. My stomach says yes, we can shut down. Oh, by the way, I showed you guys. Well, I didn't show you guys yet, but on my blog, there's a giant Azul set, which is going to be at the Dice Tower Con now, because they've already told us they're giving us a copy for Dice Tower Con. Look how awesome this giant Azul piece is, and wait till you see how cool the whole thing is.
Okay, now listen. Here's my story for today.
What?
Me and Sam Haley have been right for several years now, and I have proof, definitive proof. Camel Up is actually Camel Cup.
It is! I've said that for years.
No, okay, and here's why. The game was originally called Camel Cup, and I got permission to tell this story, but I've known it for a while now. The game was originally called Camel Cup, but the Chinese company made a mistake when they shipped it. On the side of the box it said Camel Up.
Really?
Yes, and so that's why it's been called Camel Up, but originally it was supposed to be Camel Cup, so I'm right.
Because it's a race game, and they're racing for the Camel Cup. We all know this.
I don't know if we all know this, because obviously I got some things, complaints about that, but yeah, so I'm still a little wired. We got in this morning at 3 a.m.
Oh, only Tom. I've been here for 2 days. They got in at 3 a.m. because it's snowing, or it was snowing really bad, and flights got delayed. I kept texting him saying, "Are you going to make it?" So other flights have been routed to Toronto. Are you going to need to be picked up in Toronto?
He's like, "Make sure you bring your boots." I'm like, "What boots? We live in Florida."
We do live in Florida, and we don't carry boots. Our feet are going to be cold when we walk outside.
Nah, it's not that bad here anyway. So you're going to come back on. We have
every day here. I can tell you guys a little of the schedule. Let's look at the schedule. So tomorrow.
Tomorrow's Tuesday.
Tomorrow's Tuesday. Mike Fitzgerald's going to be here. Rob Daviu's going to be here. Matt Leacock's going to be here. Frank DiLorenzo from R&R is going to be here. Wednesday we have Daryl Andrews. We have Eric Lang, Zev Slashinger, and his arch enemy is going to be here Wednesday.
Well, we can cross that off. We don't need Bonacore on the show at all.
Bonacore might not be on. And I have a special surprise on Thursday. I'm bringing Alan Moon on.
Okay, and Phil, is that Phil Walker Harding?
Phil Walker Harding and Gil Hova. And we have Scott Nicholson, Tom Lehman, Kevin Wilson.
And there's actually other people he'll probably fill these in.
Yes, this is just the
You might even do it Saturday if we have enough people, right?
Saturday, even Sunday if we have enough people. We'll just keep going. I mean, we're here for you guys. We want to make sure that you guys get your chance to ask questions. I know I kept saying these are the people on, ask questions. I want to make sure you guys get a chance to interact with all of these designers and publishers. This is your chance to talk with them.
All right, so that's going to be on every day. It's Jason's right. You have a chance to come in and talk to people. So we're going to shut down now, but we really appreciate everyone here watching. I'll let you close. It's your show, man.
Well, for the Dice Tower, I'm Jason Levine.
I'm Tom Vassell.
And thank you for watching.